The television screen flickered in the dim light of a room that has once buzzed with cheers, flowers, and the sound of Khela Hobe. The woman in the white sari sat still, unnervingly still, as the numbers rolled in from across Bengal's 294 constituency. One by one, the green color on the map was changed into saffron. For the first time in 15 years, Mamata Banerjee was watching Bengal slip through her fingers like sand. The reporters outside Nabanna were already sharpening their pens. The anchors were already rehearsing their lines. Twitter, which is now called X, was already on the fire, but inside that room, the woman who had once stood on a hunger strike for 26 days, who had taken on the Marxist with nothing but fury and a cotton sari, who had made an entire state bow to the word Didi, sat in silence. So, how did it come to this? To understand the fall, you have to go to far back to a girl from Kalighat who didn't know how to lose. So, back in 1970s, when Bengal smelled of jute and revolution, she wasn't supposed to be a politician. She was supposed to be ordinary person. Born in 1955 in a modest household in Kalighat, young Mamata Chatterjee grew up watching the world through eyes that burned with a particular kind of anger, the anger of the overlooked. Her father died when she was a teenager. Poverty was not a concept, it was on her dinner table reality. But anger, when it finds direction, becomes power. She joined the Indian National Congress Youth Wing, and from her very first rally, it was clear that this woman could move a crowd. Not through eloquence, not through charm, but through sheer, unfiltered volcanic passion. She screamed with others whispered. She stood when others sat. She climbed on the top of cars when others stood behind podiums. In 1984, she won her first Lok Sabha seat from Jadavpur. She was 29 years old then, but Congress was not in Bengal, and the Bengal for 34 years belonged to the left front, a red fortress that seemed unbreakable, eternal, almost geological in its permanence. The CPM had built the network into every village, but Mamta fought them alone, loudly, repeatedly, unsuccessfully. In 1993, she was assaulted at the Kolkata police headquarters. She was dragged and beaten. She was humiliated on camera. Any other politician would have retreated. She showed up the next morning with a bandaged head and a bigger microphone in 1998 after years of suffocation. Within the Congress party, she did the unthinkable. She broke away and founded the Trinamool Congress, the TMC, and the grassroots. The name itself was the declaration of a war. She lost the election. She switched alliances. She came back to Congress, left again. The left called her unstable. The media called her erratic. But in the villages of Bengal, where women carried water on their heads and the man feared the local CPM booth committee, a different word was spreading, and the word was Didi. And only this word Didi was the reason when the red wall was crumbled in the year 2011. It is hard to explain what May 13, 2011 felt like if you were not there. The 34 years of the left rule over not barely, over with a sledgehammer, TMC won 184 seats. Mamata Banerjee became the chief minister of West Bengal. She arrived at the writers' building, the colonial seats of Bengal's power, in a simple sari, carrying a jute bag. It looked like a revolution. She scrapped useless project, launched Kanyasri, a scheme for a girl child that won UN recognition, brought Bengal into national conversation with a certain swagger. She took the center, took on Modi, took on everyone. She became the face of anti-BJP opposition long before the word INDIA alliance was invented. She coined phrases "Khela hobe," let the game begin. She won election in 2016, won again in 2011, most dramatical election in her career. The BJP threw everything at her. Amit Shah held hundreds of rallies. They said that she would lose her own seat from Nandigram to Suvendu Adhikari, and she lost. She lost Nandigram by a whisker, but TMC won 213 seats. Bengal had spoken. Didi was untouchable, or so it seemed. But after a long rule, when power begins to rot, the power is a strange thing. The same qualities that help you seize it: loyalty to your own, ruthlessness toward enemies, the ability to build a network of control, slowly begin to consume you from within. The Bengal was changing, and the stories coming out were no longer about governance. The Sandeshkhali incident since 2024, a cluster of islands in the Sundarbans Delta, beautiful, remote, and forgotten. Then the woman started speaking in early 2024. The woman of Sandeshkhali stood before the cameras and alleged something that sent shockwaves through the nation. Years of sexual exploitation and land grabbing by local TMC strongmen. The chief accused Sheikh Shahjahan, a TMC leader, has vanished for 55 days, and the police, the same police that served the Mamata government, were accused of protecting him. The images were searing. Women, mostly from tribal and OBC communities, holding lathis, their faces raw with rage, demanding justice, and not from Delhi, not from Modi, from their own Didi, Mamata Didi. Mamata called it a BJP conspiracy. Opposition parties descended on Sandeshkhali with television cameras. The National Commission for Women filed reports. The strongman ran for months. Shahjahan was eventually arrested, but the damage was done. The image of Didi as the protector of Bengal's women had developed a crack that no whitewash could ever. And then there comes the Arjikar case that broke something deeper. In August 9, 2024, a postgraduate trainee doctor, a young woman, was found raped and murdered inside the seminar hall of Arjikar Medical College and Hospital in Kolkata. One of the state's most prestigious institutions, a government-run hospital. The country erupted. Doctors across India went on strike. Bengal's medical fraternity, young, educated, angry, spilled onto the streets of Kolkata in what became the most sustained urban protest since the anti-CAA movement. The Reclaim Night marches saw thousands of women walking at midnight with candles through the streets of Kolkata, demanding safety and justice and accountability. And what did the government do? The initial response was catastrophic. The hospital principal was not immediately removed. Questions swirled about a possible cover-up of evidence. The Calcutta High Court stepped in and handed the case to the CBI, expressing deep concern about the state's handling. The Supreme Court took suo motu cognizance. The accused was arrested, a civic volunteer with links to TMC affiliated networks. Then came the Arjikar's principal controversy. Then the allegation of financial irregularities within the college. Layer after layer peeled back, and beneath each layer, the same thing: impunity within the system. Mamata's government stumbled through the crisis with a mix of defensiveness, deflection, and delayed action. She had built her career on fighting for women. Now the mothers of Bengal were asking, who is fighting for our daughters? The junior doctors' strike lasted for weeks. The Abhaya movement named for the victim, became a cultural wound. The Arjikar wound was not healed properly, and the West Bengal got its next wound and that is the Durgapur, the law and order question. The Durgapur had long been a hotspot for political violence. But in 2024 to 25 incidents of open clashes between TMC factions, alleged extortion rings, and reports of ruling party linked anti-social elements controlling industrial areas made national headlines repeatedly. The narrative was now fully formed. Bengal under TMC was not just corrupt at the top, it was rotten in the roots. So, post poll violence after every election had already drawn Supreme Court scrutiny, but now, even within TMC's own domain, there were fizzards, rebel leaders, disgruntled MLAs. The party that ran Bengal on absolute loyalty was leaking from within. So there is a limit of tolerance, and in 2026, the tolerance was over. The BJP has smelled the blood. They didn't just campaign on Hindutva, they campaigned on mother's grief, Arjikar on women's dignity, Sandeshkhali on law and order of Durgapur. They put local faces forward. They ran women candidates in constituencies where TMC had fielded men with criminal records. The INDI alliances in Bengal was another casualty. The Congress and the left contested separately from TMC, splitting whatever anti-BJP secular vote remained. Mamata had always been too proud to share space. Now that pride had electoral consequences. And then there was the economy. Bengal's unemployment, the industries that hadn't come, the comparison with states that had grown. The educated youth, the same doctors who protested at Arjikar, were registering their verdict not just on the street but on the voting machine buttons as well. Even her nephew, once seen as her political successor, had become a liability. The debates around the nepotism within TMC refused to die. And after seeing these things, the results were now beyond doubt. The television anchor's voice cut through the silence, and with this, we can now project that the Bharatiya Janata Party led alliance has crossed the majority mark in West Bengal for the first time in the state history. Mamata Banerjee finally moved. She stood up, straightened her sari, her face etched with 15 years of governance, of fights, of glories and failures. Showed nothing that could be called defeat in the conventional sense. This was after all the women who had been lathi charged, left for dead in a Lok Sabha session, stood alone against 34 years of left tyranny and still come back. The woman who had made her state chant her name like a deity, she stepped to the window. I hope that you all have liked this video, and even if you have liked a single part of the whole video, please subscribe to our channel as it helps us to generate more this kind of videos. Thank you so much, and we will meet on the next video. Till then, Jai Hind.